Happy Tuesday. Welcome to the Scoop World Order. Huge show tonight. The transfer portal is churning along. There's some intel from practice that is leaking out. We're going to get into that. What is the game plan going to be versus Tennessee? What's this portal? This portal's been crazy. It's not going to stop, and I'm really excited about some of the stuff we're going to be bringing to you guys. Take your questions. As always, if you guys enjoy our content, please leave us a like, click subscribe. Also, click that little alert bell. Again, I appreciate you guys for kicking with us each and every night. Again, we just appreciate all you guys do. It's Christmas season. I know that people are really busy right now, so you guys taking the time to enjoy our show, it means a lot to us. Again, nice little break from a lot of the craziness that leads up into the Christmas season. So hope you guys are having fun. A special shout out to my dude AJ and his wife Jessica. Happy anniversary to you guys. Met them at Twin Peaks. Kim and I were having lunch, and they walked in and they said, "Hey, this is what Kirk always talks about on the show." And big supporters of the show, awesome people from Ashland. So I hope you guys had a great time down here while you guys were kind of exploring Columbus on your anniversary. So appreciate you guys both coming over and saying hi to Kim and I while we were enjoying ourselves at Twin Peaks. But again, you guys taking care of our sponsors and checking out Twin Peaks and Buffalo Wild Wings and the rest of our sponsors, it's huge for us. It really helps us to solidify the relationships. Great establishments. They've been awesome for us. And thank you for being awesome for them. Again, I just appreciate you guys so much for doing all of that. If you guys want to do something awesome for us, again, the best Christmas gift you can give Nevada and I, help us keep growing Apple Podcasts and Spotify, because those are two things that we're way behind. YouTube is exploding, 34,000 plus. But again, we appreciate all of the support you guys give us. And those are all absolutely free to do, something that can really help us. And it takes about maybe 30 seconds to do. So again, I appreciate you guys. We're going to get right into it. My good friend, Nevada, the portal is bonkers. The Branch brothers from USC jumped in. A couple of guys at Ohio State were in on a few years ago. Philip Daniels, who's a really good right tackle from Ohio, from Princeton, same school that yielded us Paris Johnson. He looks like he's potentially in the fold here. He's visiting. He's related to Paris and Monica. So. This is Monica Daniels. A lot of good stuff happening. What's your thoughts on the portal thus far? Because it's been a point of consternation as guys kind of get added to the board, they come off the board, they commit elsewhere. What are your thoughts thus far for Ohio State?
Well, I think we got to take a step back and really look at what the portal means and what the reality is of the portal for Ohio State football in 2024. Ohio State has a salary cap. They have a finite amount of money to spend to maintain their roster, to attract high school recruits, and to attract guys in the portal. There's a number that they have. So their job when they contact these players, bring these players in on visits, get exposed to these players via film, whatever it is to assign a value. They assign a value to each player. And when that player comes in, they communicate to that player, here's what we see your value is to Ohio State. And let's say it's a player and they say, we value at $300,000. And some other school comes in and offers them $1 million and they go to the $1 million school. I can't be mad at Ohio State. I just can't. I can't conjure up anger for Ohio State because some other school is offering them substantially more than the value that Ohio State places on that player. Now I'm not saying that's the case in every situation, but that's a lot of it. And so for Ohio State right now, they've got to match up their desires, their needs, specifically on the offensive line, where their highest priority is tackles with multiple years of eligibility left. That's their number one. And then they've got to match what they see the value of that player with that player's perceived value to himself. And so for Ohio State, they've got to thread that needle all the while preparing for a playoff game, all the while realizing that there's 11 other playoff teams that once they're out of the playoff, they're going to have teams going into the portal as well. And if you remember, our portal action last year really didn't start till January. So, I think as a fan, you've got to take a step back. You've got to, just take a deep breath. Ohio State knows how to use the portal. The collectives are fully funded. They understand what they need to do. They understand what the objective is. And let's wait until the entire portal season is over before you freak out. And if at the end of the portal season, we haven't filled needs or you haven't got the guys, man, feel free to freak out, yell, scream, get angry, jump up and down, hold your breath, do whatever you want to do. But I think doing it prematurely is just crazy because there's so much going on in right now. There's so much activity, and it's not like Ohio State. Let's specifically talk about the offensive line. They can only bring in at max 3 guys, maybe 2 if they're the right guys, but probably 3. But they're not going to bring in 8 guys. They're going to bring in 3. So they have to be selective. They have a certain amount of money that they can do. They can't blow it all on one player. They can't overpay. And that's the reality of the portal market right now. So I see it all the time on our message board. I see it all the time on Twitter. People freaking the heck out. We lost the Cal Poly offensive lineman. I'm like, who cares, guys? There's another guy. You didn't even know who the Cal Poly lineman was, 3 days ago, and now you're just so desperate for them to land somebody that you're freaking out. And I just think it's wrong. I think on the portal, the portal right now is not just a novelty. The portal used to be a novelty act. When Justin Fields was in the portal, it was rare to get guys in the portal. It was like kind of weird. You had to get a waiver from the NCAA. Then the player came and you did it, but there wasn't a lot of kids. Now it's a primary recruiting tool. Ohio State understands that. Ohio State is fully engaged in it, and I have no doubt that they'll fill their needs in the portal. Don't get freaked out because some initial returns on a handful of guys that you'd never heard of might go somewhere else, or even if they come here, let's just, like I said, let's wait and see to the end of portal season, and then we can we're going to assign a grade to the portal. Because last year, I gave Ohio State an A+ in the portal. A+. No one did the portal better than Ohio State. They haven't forgotten how to use the portal in 12 months. It'll be okay. And these teams that are spending money like drunken sailors, they can't take them all, because one of the big things that these kids are coming for is to start. And you can't tell 4 portal tackles they're all going to start, because kids get wise to that. The agents get wise to that, and they go, hey, wait a second, you got these other 3 guys and you're telling them they're all going to start. That can't be, because we're all tackles. So at some point, this thing's going to level out. Ohio State's right where they need to be, and everything's going to be okay. And that's just Nevadabuck's little admonition for the day. Portals, it's a long way to go in portal season. Don't freak out. Save your energy for freaking out for something else, but not now.
Yeah, I mean, that's we talked a little bit today about it. Is with the portal, I mean it's a lot like free agency. I mean, I hate to say that, like it's like free agency in the NFL, Major League Baseball, any major sports league. Not every signing is a good signing. You look back, especially in leagues like hockey and basketball, where there's baseball, where there's guaranteed money. Obviously the NFL, there's dead cap money. I mean, there's a lot of people were excited when Russell Wilson got, traded to the Broncos inside that humongous contract. And then they're eating $50 million in dead money from getting rid of him. But some of these kids, I mean, here's the deal. For me, if I'm in if I'm in the Woody Hayes right now, and I'm Ryan Day and I'm Justin Fry, every ounce of my energy is on beating Tennessee, stopping this front, figuring out how to get Luke Montgomery and Austin Sauerveld and these guys ready to go. If a kid stops by and maybe feels like he's second fiddle, or he's not treated as good as Auburn, or if he goes to Auburn, or I'm like, well, yeah, they're not playing a playoff game. Like these coaches, their livelihoods are at stake this weekend. Because guess what? If Justin Fry shows up and we lay an egg in the horseshoe on Saturday, his family gets to go sell their house and move to, Sheboygan or wherever, where he's going to be coaching his next job. Because it's like that. So, again, a lot of these kids, they want the attention. They want to be stroked. And the biggest thing is, like, a lot of these kids just want to be paid. I mean, a lot of these kids are jumping in the portal not to get developed, but just to see what's the quickest way to get some fast money. So I had a really, really, really fascinating conversation with a guy he's deep in the game, knows what's going on. We'll probably have a nugget about it, what's going on with NIL. And it's insane what some of these teams are offering money-wise. And again, if a kid is just about fast cash, and he, again, a lot of these kids are destitute. They don't have a lot of money. So they all of a sudden, and again, anyone, if you're going to offer some of these dollar figures, they're going to go to the highest bidder, which again, that's fine. But, not all not all fast money is the most advantageous, especially like when you see the way Ohio State has developed tackles. Like if I was a tackle and they offered me comparable money, maybe a little bit less than some other schools, maybe Texas A&M, Oregon, whatever. Like I look at it at who's putting tackles in the league with the current staff. Like with A&M, like they've put tackles in 10 years ago with Luke Jokel and Jake Matthews and those guys, but that whole coaching staff's gone. Like the guys that get there now, they're not, they're not putting guys in the league like that. With Justin Fry and Mickey, I mean, they've had Paris and DeWand and, Mickey's had obviously Nick Petit-Frere and Thayer and all the way back to Jack Buhort and Taylor Decker. I mean, it's like those guys know how to build tackles. So, like that's a lot of people were upset that, our boy Big World is like, he eliminated us, and it's all of the, it's all the high bidders. It's A&M and Oregon. I'm like, well, that's fine. I mean, I don't care if he ends up at A&M or Oregon. We'll survive somehow. Because again, the one thing I know about our fan base is that how they react. And again, I love the people that support Ohio State football. Obviously, we do this show every night and we talk about them. But it's like, at some point, you guys have to realize that you need to trust the experts. And again, I'm not saying me and Nevada are, but the guys in the Woody Hayes are hitting their slugging percentage is through the roof right now when it comes to nailing these guys. Because again, if you look at our reactions, again, we have a message board. So if you guys aren't on BuckeyeScoop.com, there's this neat little feature we have called Search, and you can search for the reaction for when we landed Josh Simmons, which was, basically like the reaction of like a wet fart. And then last year, like I swear to God, we get Seth McLaughlin. All I hear about is that he can't snap. Not that he's good. Not that he's you're gonna start at center, and ended up being a consensus All-American. He made I forget if it's you have to make 50% of the All-American teams to be consensus. He wasn't unanimous. There was a couple he wasn't first team. And again, shout out to the media that cover the Big Ten, the genius media that cover the Big Ten. They made him second team All Big Ten, but he's made like 5 All-American teams and won the Remington. So basically had one of the greatest seasons in the history of Ohio State football for center. But the reaction to getting him was a big nothing burger. It was ho hum, and he coming into the season. And again, if I'm selling the development of the offensive line, it's the easiest sales job of all time. I say, look, we took a kid from Alabama. This isn't a kid from Boise or from Nevada or from Akron or Minnesota or wherever. This kid came from the Alabama Crimson Tide, which again, for everyone in the world, that was the dream school, the dream scenario. All the times I hear, why can't we be like Alabama? Why can't we be like Saban? And again, when he was there, they were cooking. They were killing it. And again, I totally get it. And again, I have as much respect for Nick Saban and the way he does his business and the way that team handled the rest, because they were an absolute juggernaut. And again, even with all their development, the great strength program, great offensive line coaches, Seth McLaughlin, after 4 years of his career, had never gotten any sort of SEC recognition on the field. Now, he was like academic all SEC and that type of stuff, which is great, but I don't care about that. I mean, all I care about is what are you doing on the field? So after 4 years at Alabama, he never made any level of all SEC. He didn't even make honorable mention, which again, Tegra, who I beat to death on this show sometimes because he drives me crazy when I watch him on film. He made honorable mention all Big Ten this year. So, I mean, the bar, if you just show up and can walk and chew bubblegum, and you're a year 3 guy in the league, you probably can make honorable mention. They'll probably give it to you just as like a whatever thing. So he never made any of that. But he comes up here and in one, since January, he turns into a consensus All-American and wins the Remington. So I'd be like, look how we developed this guy. Like his career is going to extend far beyond his senior season. He's going to be, a mid-round pick, probably, 4th, 5th round pick because of the injury. Can't work out. Obviously, an Achilles that's not exactly a walk in the park, but, and then like Josh Simmons is even better because Josh Simmons went from a guy that, again, when he committed, and you got to remember, Josh Simmons committed after spring football. So we didn't get him till like May, which is crazy. And he was able to still win the job despite, his first day of practicing was literally fall camp, which that never happens. These kids are always usually done winter quarter, winter semester, whatever it is. And then they go into spring ball and they're with their new team, learning the playbook, rising up the depth chart. Because again, if you're going to pay a kid, he's probably going to be the starter in ink by the second week of camp. But Josh didn't get here until May. and wins the job, slowly gets better and better and better. Then, by the Oregon game, he was the best tackle in the country. In my opinion, I was watching his tape. I was like, yeah, this guy's gonna go really high. And sure as could be, he gets injured, but I mean, he still has a shot to be a late first round pick despite tearing his patellar tendon. So again, those are two of the greatest development cases in the history of Ohio State football. Both offensive linemen and both guys that, frankly, when we got them, everyone in the fan base was like, oh, those guys suck. They're not any good. They have no accolades. Neither of them came in with any sort of major all conference, all American. They were the opposite of Caleb Downs. Like Caleb Downs comes, he's preseason All American and best safety in the universe. And again, he's a unanimous All American as a sophomore. So he's going to end up being the best safety that's ever played here. But again, I just tell people, man, just take a breath, please. Let's just worry about Tennessee. The chips will fall where they may. We're going to have good offensive linemen. We've got a lot of money. A lot of cap space is getting cleared because, again, our roster is going to turn over. But the beautiful thing about the portal is just because we lose a ton of seniors and a bunch, if we lose Davidson and a couple guys that are juniors that have a decision to make, we have a chance to completely reload this roster because of NIL and the portal. And again, the portal doesn't end like in the next 2 weeks. It ends like as each round ends. Every team I think has like a 7-day window. So there's going to be guys from every team leaving. All the way up to the national championship. And then you're going to have another window after spring. So our roster is so fluid right now that it's crazy to get upset about something that you don't even have any idea what it's going to be like. This is like, again, it's like you're upset that your house, like someone put a shovel in the ground at your new lot where you're building your house and they put one little shovel in the ground and you're upset that the house is going to be ruined or something. Because you have no idea what it's going to look like. Nevada, you have any thoughts on that? Because again, I know people, they want to get every single recruiting, and some of these guys can't even play. Like that's the funny thing. I watch some of these guys on tape and they commit to Cincinnati or wherever, and I'm just like, if they're committed to Cincinnati, that means that we didn't want them. We didn't offer them. Georgia didn't offer them. So I don't think we're missing much. What are your thoughts, Nevada?
Well, yeah, I mean, like I said, the Josh Simmons commitment. I mean, that wasn't 20 years ago. That was, a couple of years. We can all remember that one. That one, I always look at by how long the thread is when a guy committed, when Josh Simmons committed, I'll bet you we go back and look at it. It can't be more than like 30 replies. And I'll bet you half of them are about the number of procedure penalties he had or something like that. I mean, no one was excited about that commitment. And you're talking about a guy that ended up as a first team All-American. So, yeah, I think you have to get a little bit of perspective. And now the idea is once you fill these spots too, remember you can't go back. You can't go get other guys. So if you it's like going to the buffet and you fill up your plate at the first. You're like, oh, I want crab legs and I want a baked potato and oh, give me a piece of prime rib. And also your plate's already full. And then all of a sudden something else comes and you can't dump the crab legs off your plate. You're done. You got to go sit down and that's your meal. And so for Ohio State, they've got to balance making sure they get the right guys, making sure they're paying the amount of money for the right guys, and making sure they don't fill up on guys they don't want, or guys that they don't really, really want. So it's a delicate dance that they're kind of going through on this, but man, it's the top of the first inning. And I know the fan base is like starved for good news, but I would submit that we already got I think the fan base got so shattered by the Michigan game that they're looking for something good to happen. And I would submit that signing the class that we did, where the only real defection that you had on signing day was Neem Offord, who went to because Phil Knight promised him a shoe deal or something like that at Oregon. I mean, and we flipped the kid from UCLA, kept the classic under. I mean, you've already got prima facie evidence that Ohio State hasn't fallen into the abyss. And so don't think because the Cal Poly lineman went somewhere else that we've forgotten how to portal or that we're not contacting anybody or that I heard people, I've heard that we're out of money and the donors aren't giving any money to us. And it's like, guys, no, it's not. That's not true. There's not, you have a finite amount of money, but there's plenty of money to go around. And as you mentioned, there's good news and there's bad news. The bad news is we're going to lose a ton of guys off this team. There's going to be a ton of guys drafted in the NFL. I mean, there's going to be wholesale attrition on the team between seniors, portal guys. I mean, there's going to be a lot of turnover. The good news is that frees up money to spend on other guys. So lots and lots and lots of runway to go. And I'm excited about Daniels. You know, I want to go back and, you know, look at his tape, see what it is. But, you know, to have a guy that's young, that's got Ohio ties, that's got, you know, even a scant amount of Big Ten starting experience, you know, if they like him and they can get him and they can get him at the right price, bring him on, bring him into the room. Let's see what happens and let's kind of get it on. But I know that will not be the last portal ad that we have in the offensive line with Daniels, but it sure as heck could be the first.
Yeah, and he's the kid we should have taken out of high school in all likelihood. And, you know, I don't know if we're going to end up expanding our numbers, you know, because obviously the new roster cap's going to be 105. You have 105 guys on scholarship, but I would offer 7 offensive linemen a year now in every class. Because again, it's like with offensive linemen, man, you're just looking for gold, and sometimes the gold is a giant nugget like Paris Johnson, which is right in front of you. It's not hard to find, but you're basically like panhandling. You know, it's like you imagine like it's like the 49ers. You know, they're out there shaking their little pan for gold. Well, when you can take more guys and then you can throw guys back with the portal, it's like having like a giant, like the biggest pan in the world, where you can just scrape the whole river and shake it around and find the gold. And that's the beauty of the portals. Like, I mean, this is a kid that we should have taken. If we would have offered him, he would have committed in 2 seconds. You know, he was a 3-star kid coming out, but he played well for Minnesota. Minnesota is a really physical team. They're one of the most well-coached teams in the Big Ten, just because given how tough they play versus, you know, their talent level. I mean, they're not an easy out for anybody, and they're a lot like, you know, what Wisconsin kind of used to be in Iowa, and they play a tough brand of football. They have to, because they're not going to outskill many people, but they get occasional good skill players like Rashad Bateman that they end up being first rounders. So yeah, this kid he's got starting film, and you know, you throw him in the mix and you know, put him in there at right tackle and have him compete with Ian and some of these other guys. And then left tackle, you got George Fitzpatrick, you got maybe another portal guy, maybe, you know, whoever you want to audition out there. Like, you've got some guys that can compete. You know, again, like I think the optimal number to take is 2. Again, I'm not into taking 3, 4. You can't take 3, 4 because you gotta the guys that you bring in have got to have a shot to compete. You can't just, you know, whitewash the whole room and bring in 5 new portal guys and they're just like then all your backups portal out to greener pastures. Because again, like, you got to figure out what you're gonna do with Luke Montgomery. Like, Luke Montgomery is the wild card here because, like, you know, again, he's in a pretty serious competition with Austin Sourville, Tegra. You know, Austin and Luke are the same age. They came in with Josh Padilla. So, I mean, you know, it's getting to be go time for those guys. And again, the difference with Austin and Luke is, you know, Luke's going to be a junior next year. I mean, like, again, like Luke Montgomery, it seems like he just got here, but they burned his red shirt 2 years in a row, which I thought was crazy. So he's a 3rd-year junior when he should be a 3rd-year sophomore. So that he's going to figure out what he's going to do, and they got to get him either going, or he's got to, you know, figure out what he wants to do if he has to go find somewhere to play. Because I don't think he's big enough to play tackle. I don't think he's tall enough. He's got great feet, good athlete, great kid. But I just don't know if he's got the length to play tackle, not in an optimal fashion. That's why they've bumped him into guard. Because again, when a kid's that athletic, like, you'd ideally play him at tackle, but I don't know if he's got the length. I don't know if he's strong enough. But I mean, guard, you got to be even stronger. So it's going to be interesting to see how he looks, because he's going to play against Tennessee. Because again, I think that you know, that's the beauty of the portal, man, is it forces you to play kids, and, you know, hey, you know, we want you around and we want you to play. And, you know, eventually, like, if Ryan Day and Justin Frye are giving kids lip service, like, eventually they're going to say, well, you keep saying that you want me to play, and then you burn my eligibility, and now I got to get in the game, or else I got to go elsewhere, you know. And again, Luke's the guy that's going to have big offers if he goes elsewhere, but hopefully he balls out and plays great. And again, there's, you know, if we take another interior guy potentially, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think we could take one, because I think that our guys will get better on the inside. You know, because Tegra's got to figure it out, or he's got to move along, and the same with the other guys. And you know, I think Carson's got a bright future. He's got to keep getting stronger. All these guys. The one mandate I would make if I ran the room is this: you guys are all going to get stronger. You guys, this is unacceptable to be this weak and be offensive linemen. And again, I'm not saying that they haven't grown, but you get into year 4, you better start playing like a man and not be pushed around as much. And I think that that's something that would be the edict from me. Is that, look, guys, like, I know that Mickey is fantastic at developing these guys, but I say, guys, let's get serious. Let's watch this film. You guys are getting pushed around too much. You guys got to get in that squat rack a little bit more and do a little bit more than the prescribed workouts, because that's what it comes down to. If you want to move guys, like all the great centers and interior guys I played with, they're all huge squatters. I mean, like LaCharles and Nick Mangold. I mean, those guys could squat a house, and they were good anchors. They could move guys at the point of attack in the middle of the offense, and that's what I want to see. I want to see these guys move. And again, this is the best D line we've seen. This might be the best D line in the tournament. I mean, they're right next to Georgia's. So I mean, this is going to be one where these guys gotta show up. And again, Chip Kelly and these guys that are calling the plays have got to help these guys out a little bit. Will Howard, the running game, like, this is all one big it's all one big puzzle when you go against a D line like this. You can't just make it easy on them. You can wear those guys out. And again, I've said it before and I'll say it again, like the tempo thing. Jim Knowles talked today about tempo, and I think that tempoing this D line would be the smartest thing we could ever do in a million years. And I hope that Ryan Day listens to this and says, you know what? If these guys want to run 8 guys, 9 guys in the rotation, let's tempo them. Don't let them rotate. Then all of a sudden, it's like you cut their legs off. And again, it's fun to watch when you do it and it works correctly. Nevada, we're getting close, man. I mean, they got their big practice was today, Tuesday. That's the heaviest practice of the week. They got one more practice in pads. Then it's wind the clocks and get ready to roll. How are you feeling about the matchup on Saturday night versus the Tennessee Volunteers?
I'm feeling really good. And I'm we'll have a nugget out tomorrow on a little bit more detail on some game plan stuff. But I really I like the plan. I like the approach. I like talking to people that are in Las Vegas that do analytics. They really think this is a strong matchup for Ohio State analytically. Tennessee's been such a different team. They're like a Jekyll and Hyde team away from home, and this is going to be a huge challenge for them coming in, playing this game. And I just like the matchups, and it's funny you talk about tempo. See, tempo doesn't necessarily mean going fast. You can even bluff tempo. We talked about, if the other team's going to present a change, you can run to the line and act like you're going to snap the ball all of a sudden. And so they keep their defense out there, and then you back off and you can look back. And I mean, there's a million things that you can do with tempo to mess with defensive mind, especially for a team that's like to change things up and, play 8, 9 guys on the defensive line. Here's the good news. Ohio State's been practicing all that. And I really believe that they'll bring it out this week. Now, will I think they'll go fast the whole time? No, but they know. Chip Kelly and Ryan Day are not dumb guys. They understand the value of tempo. They've been practicing the heck out of tempo, and I'd be really, really shocked if we didn't see the appearance of speed, the actuality of speed, and just them always trying to keep Tennessee off their off of their rotations and out of their patterns by threatening to go fast. And I think by just threatening to go fast, it really messes with the defense. And I really think Ohio State's going to do a lot of that.
Yeah, I think that'll be something that'll be interesting to watch, because, like I said, these guys rotate a lot, and I don't think they see a ton of tempo. I mean, from the games I watch, it's hard to watch, like when you're watching all 22, how much teams are really moving it. I got to watch like some more TV copies, because you get a better feel for it. Because when you're watching all 22 film, it's like they cut every play, so you can't really see if it's tempo or not. But a lot of times you can tell just because guys aren't getting lined up. And again, that was like the thing that killed me about the Michigan game is like we went tempo and like their guys couldn't even line up right. So we're getting basically like free money every single time we go against them, because their D line's not lined up, or they're looking at the sideline and we're snapping the ball, running the play, and they're all a second behind because they're not lined up. So that's a huge benefit to it. Yeah, I just, if I run the organization, if I'm Ryan Day, if I'm sitting in his chair, as much as the portal's great and hosting kids is great, like the only thing in the universe right now that matters is this Tennessee game. That's it. I mean, for the sake of their livelihoods and the well-being of themselves and their families, like as much as it's great to go get a kid from Northwestern who wasn't even honorable mention all Big Ten, or he might have been like on the media team or something. Like if he goes elsewhere because he didn't have fun at the visit, that's fine. I don't care. Let's just worry about beating these guys. Because again, if you don't want to be developed in this program as an offensive lineman, I just don't know what to tell you. I mean, when you see some of these guys that they're debating between like, Oregon and A&M and Auburn, and I'm like, well, let's look at like the accolades that we've stacked up over the last 10 years versus all of them. And for some of them, they get at 3 or 4 of the schools together and they can't stack up to the resume that our guys have, especially when you throw in the NFL starts, and these guys are going to start. Your guys like Paris are going to be up for Pro Bowls pretty quick here. So yeah, it's going to be, like I said, this is going to be a really good run. And again, we didn't, if you go back a year ago and you look at kind of, take a temperature on where we were with the portal, like we were breaking that Will Howard was coming here. Like that was something that I had nailed to the cross, dead to rights. And I told people, I was like, look, we're getting Will Howard. And Brian Day met with him in early December in Dallas. And then like we kind of followed the whole chronological deal. We talked to Cam Ward. We went with Will Howard. And then, the Cotton Bowl happens, that debacle happens. Then people are like, well, I don't know if we're getting Will Howard. I was like, oh, we're getting him. He's already accepted the money. It's like, it's done. It's over. So, but then like that was kind of the one big thing we got. But then after the playoffs, I mean, we're watching that. We did that live stream of the Michigan Alabama game, and we're watching Caleb Downs and we're watching Seth McLaughlin, and frankly, like I didn't know who Seth McLaughlin was at that time. Obviously, we all knew who Caleb Downs was because we recruited him. We were like the number 2 in the runners up for his services. But Julian Sain was on that team. Nevada, like when we were doing that live stream, did you have any idea that we were going to get all of those guys? Like, the obviously the great Nick Saban was still coaching at that point, but that's how quick it can all turn. Because again, there's going to be the coaching carousel is going to start spinning really fast here, and again, there's going to be NFL openings, and guys are going to change teams, move, position coaches are going to leave. There's always a couple of grenades that get thrown that you can't see coming. Like the Alabama thing. And again, that's where we can be ready to, it's kind of like when there's like some sort of a warfare going on, and, we get to run in and loot the palace of, the ruler who's been overthrown. We get to run in. There's a bunch of Monet paintings and gold bars. Like we'll take some of those. Like that's what getting Julian Sands like, and getting Caleb Downs out of the clear blue sky. But like, what were your thoughts on that? Because again, like at this time last year, if I would have said at this time last year that Caleb Downs is going to be a Buckeye, I would have been laughed out of, Ohio. And then we end up getting them. What are your thoughts?
Well, yeah, Granny Nevada used to say sometimes the difference between a disaster and a miracle is just the passage of time. And, that's kind of what it is with the portal. And as you said, you've got this initial portal window that's now. Then you've got the portal window for the playoff teams, which there's 11 other playoff teams that's going to be breaking, every week over the next, month and a half or whatever it is. Then you've got a new portal window that opens for 30 days for any team that has a coach leave. So that goes. Then there's a second portal window that opens after spring football. So it's like, I mean, there's going to be lots of opportunities and lots of guys and names that we haven't even contemplated that are coming on. And the analogy I used earlier, you don't want to get full too early, and then something better comes along, some chocolate eclair, some German chocolate cake combined with carrot cake combined with a hot fudge sundae, and all of a sudden you're already full and you can't eat. So Ohio State's got to really keep their powder dry. Don't just jump at the first shiny thing. Stay disciplined. It's like, I'm a collector and I love to do auctions. But you have to have discipline when you're going to these auctions. You can't just like get all auction happy and just, get competitive and just try to bid. You have to drop out when the thing gets to a price that you think is just, it's too much. And Ohio State's got to be that same way as well. If anybody's on auctions, you have to have that discipline to say, at this price, I am no bid. And if it goes beyond that, I just got to go. That doesn't mean you're a loser. That doesn't mean you didn't do it right or that you're whatever. It just means you dropped out of the bidding. And in a lot of these cases now, Ohio State is dropping out of the bidding on guys that they just do not have a price as high as somebody else is willing to pay. And that's okay. That's just life in the big city. And there are going to be other auctions starting, virtually every day for the next 2 months. There's going to be somebody who's going to be on sale, and Ohio State's got to be in a position to make a purchase.
Yeah, and like we said, like you can relate it to your favorite pro sports teams, like the Browns. Like the Browns spent a lot of money to get Deshaun Watson. Like at the time, people were kind of excited about it, a little skeptical because of the stuff. And now you look back and you're like, that was one of the worst purchases of all time. But again, that's kind of what this is like. It's, if a kid wants $1 million, but we value him at 250 or 300, then you pay a guy that can't play. Like again, the thing I do applaud Ohio State is that even though it's not really their money, they are very diligent with their money. You go out and pay Caleb Downs, and Caleb Downs is worth every dime or every penny we ever scraped together to get that kid. Same with Mustafa McLaughlin. Same with Josh Simmons and Quinshon Judkins. Like, I mean, again, at some point you got to have some deference to the experts because, like, Ohio State they're getting intel from coaches, from players, from runners, from agents. Like, it's a pretty sophisticated system. I mean, they've got relationships with companies that are doing NIL deals, and they get backroom kind of intel on, hey, how's the kid and what's he like and how is he to deal with and does he have any crazy third uncles? And I got a whole breakdown on this today where it's like, there's companies that'll go and meet with the kids. Hey, we want to pitch you on this NIL deal, and they'll go meet with the kid and meet him at his place. And oh yeah, the house is great and it's in order and he lives by himself. Great kid, respectful. Teammates love him, and it's just like, okay, that's great intel. Because again, you could not know that, and it turns out the kid's a cancer, and he's got all kinds of dingbat friends, and they're all going to move to Columbus. And you're just like, oh my God, no, please don't do that. So again, the diligence is really there. And mostly, most of these kids are kids that, you got to remember, if we hadn't had any sort of interaction with them previously, usually there's some sort of layer of intel that we find from a trusted source. Like, well, Josh Simmons, like, Justin Fry recruited him. So when he's at UCLA, got to know the kid, kind of got to know his demeanor, obviously knew his athleticism. So it wasn't like we just threw a dart in the dark and hoped to hit something. This is with all the Alabama kids, it was kind of like, Bill O'Brien knew Julian Sane because obviously he recruited him when he was at Alabama. So that he was, Bill O'Brien's one thing that he did during the month that he was, in the Woody Hayes was he thought he got us Julian Sane, which is great. Obviously Caleb Downs, Seth McLaughlin. So there's all these little dominoes that happen. Because I'm telling you, just don't. There's a grading scale on the Woody Hayes, and if you bring in a Victor Cutler or you bring in too many of these guys and you pay these guys, a couple $100,000 and they stink, eventually it's kind of like, what are we doing? Are you doing your homework on the kid? Because you're always going to miss on kids. But when it comes to the portal, you've got like a body of work that's way different than getting a kid out of high school. You get a kid out of high school, man, it's like, you don't know how they're going to react to college. That's what I always tell you guys. I'm like, look, some of these guys, some of you people, or some of the folks, they get real excited about a kid and, oh, he's going to be a great recruit and gets to campus. And some of these kids just go buck wild. It's like they're like the show where the Amish kids go to the city and they never come back to the Amish community. Like, that's what some of these guys are like. They don't go to class. They party every night. They do drugs and drink and it's like, and they just fall off the path. And again, I saw my class was a great example because we came in with 15 of us, and after about a year, 10 guys were gone, because they were wiling out and being crazy. And again, so when a guy proves that he can handle college, which again, I know that sounds stupid, but again, a lot of you guys, if you went to Ohio State at orientation, one of the first things they do is they say, look to your left and look to your right. And like everyone does it in the orientations. One of you three is not going to be here in a year. Because that's what the rate of churn is at a major university. So when you get these kids that have proven they can play, and again, that's what I'm excited about. Philip Daniels, like, he's proven he can play at a high level in the Big Ten. Good right tackle, young, 3 years of eligibility left. Obviously, a lot of room to grow, but he's proven he can play in the Big Ten. So that works for us. I wish that we would have played him this year just so we could see him against Jack and JT. But hey, he's played, very, very good talent in the Big Ten. So it's an easy study for Justin and for Mark Pantoni and those guys to go on him. And I think we're going to get him. Got a text that looks like it's going to be pretty good, Nevada. So there we go. And you got to remember, he's Paris Johnson's, or he's Monica and Paris. He's related to Paris and Monica. So, if you're related to Paris Johnson, who's going to make $100 million on his extension, like, why would you not want to follow him if you have the opportunity to? Just my opinion. Nevada, any thoughts? And we'll start digging into some super chats.
No, just look, as exciting as this portal is, and talk about this Cal Poly offensive lineman. I'm just excited. I'm excited about Tennessee, man. I'm so excited about Saturday. I really am excited. I think it is going to be absolutely a spectacle. I think having so many Tennessee fans is going to create a really interesting dynamic that we've never seen in the shoe before. And I think it's going to be a wild night. So I can't wait.
Raven Mitchell, thank you for the 5. Hey guys, is there a PO box or other mailing address that we can send Christmas gifts to the show? Yeah, send us an email, buckeyescoop@gmail.com, and we will fill you in on that. Again, I appreciate that. Yeah, that would be incredible. Again, you guys don't have to do anything for us. I mean, we do this because we enjoy doing this and we love kicking it with you guys. But I hope you guys are having a great Christmas, and I hope you guys are getting all of the things that you need and want, and Santa is going to fill your list up. So, but I appreciate that, Raymond. Thank you so much. I talked too loud. Thank you for the 5. Last year's negative fans complained we were missing on portal, and after the bowl, we nailed it. Am I the only one, quote, tired of fans hating on this team? Nevada, I will let you go with that first, because it is a phenomenon.
Yeah, no, I'm tired of it. I mean, I'm just tired of it just because we're still alive, man. It's like, if we were dead and buried and going to the Pop-Tart Bowl, even though I do like Pop-Tarts. I'm a big fan of Pop-Tart. If we're going to the Pop-Tart Bowl, then I can understand why everybody be all, sad pandas, but we're still playing. we're still playing. We're going to play Tennessee. We're going to play a freaking SEC team in the shoe for the first time in a playoff game on Saturday night with the whole world watching. It's going to be an absolute just extravaganza. So how can I be sad? I mean, how can I be sad? And I always believe in life you get what you deserve, and I think this Ohio State team deserves a win. I think they deserve a good outing. They deserve to put together a better game after the Michigan debacle. And that's what it was, a coaching debacle. It wasn't effort. I can't even blame I'm not going to blame Will Howard, or I'm not going to blame Carnell Tate or Trey Henderson or the defense for giving up a drive or the fielding for missing a couple. I'm not going to blame any of that. It was a failure of leadership in that game, but that's okay. That's over. And the good thing about life is we're not defined by our worst moments. We're defined by our best moments. So they have a chance to rewrite the script. Ryan Day has a chance to come back, and it's not like Ryan Day hasn't demonstrated ability to do this before. 2022, I would submit, was every bit as devastating a loss to Michigan at home. CJ Stroud, everything in front of us, and all hope was lost, and all the sad pandas were out. And then we gave it to Georgia, and we ended up losing on a field goal, no less. But we were right there. I think we're going to come up with a big effort on Saturday, and I'm excited about it. But yeah, the negativity, just stow it. Just stow it. If you want to be negative, just stow it for now. You can pull it out later. It's fine. It's not going to go. It's like gold in the ground. It's not going anywhere. You don't have to dig it all up right now. But let's just save the negativity till there's a reason to be negative, and let's focus on positive energy and beating Tennessee.
Yeah, I mean, the negativity is like, it is kind of stunning to me sometimes when I see, and you guys can remember, we own a message board, and we're on a message board 20 hours a day. It's like every moment that we're not asleep, we're on the message board or we're podcasting. So we get a lot of people that the I told you so. I told you we weren't going to win a national title. And I'm like, well, since 1970, we've only won twice. So, and we won on an 02 and one in 14. So outside of, 2 years out of 54, you could basically say, I told you we weren't going to win the national title. And I'm like, well, congratulations, I guess. I don't know. But I think that, the negativity is, it's exhausting. But again, like when you're the players and the coaches, like you just got to accept that that's just what it is. There is a lunatic fringe of the fan base that they just don't, they're just, and again, you guys could Google Jim Tressel. I forget what game it was after. I don't know if it was after the Purdue game they lost in 2009 or what it was, but somebody wrote a letter to the Dispatch, and it was like, it was like the most miserable thing ever written. And Jim Tressel, who I love to death, like a father, and he gets up to the podium at the media thing that week, and he's like, those must be. And Tress is like the most kind-hearted human being in the world. He's like, I just feel so terrible that I made someone who's already so miserable all the time even more miserable. Like, and again, he wasn't really being wise about it, but it was just like kind of illuminating that that's just what it is. Like, there's some people that no matter what happens, like the ice cream is too cold, the team sucks, we want the next quarterback, whoever it is. And again, this has been a phenomenon that I've studied for 20 years. I mean, I've been around the team for 20 years now, and it's like they always want the next quarterback. They always want, we want Kenny Guyton instead of Braxton Miller. We want Cardale instead of JT. Then we want JT instead of Cardale. It's just like it never stops. So it's it is people wanted to can CJ Stroud after his first start. It just is what it is. But again, I'm excited for this weekend. I think that this is going to be. There's going to be some fuel now, because I think that there's going to be a large contingent of Tennessee fans there. So again, if I'm the Bucks, I'm going to be real excited to shut them up and send them home sad down their little Trail of Tears highway back down south. So, but our guys got to get ready to roll. And again, I think that it's going to be. I think it could be the best atmosphere in the history of Ohio State, and I'm not even kidding. I mean, a freezing cold December night. They got the laser light show going, playing an SEC team that's going to be really good. First playoff game in history. Like, I just can't. I don't know. It's like Christmas came early. Like, we have another game in the horseshoe that we weren't planning on having, and it's against a good team, and it's going to be national TV. It's the only game in town. So, I mean, the ratings for that thing are going to be extraordinary, and I'm excited about it. Like I said, I think these guys.
Kirk, I got a question for you. It's going to be a scarlet out, okay? So will you wear the solid red tracksuit to the game?
Never.
Will you?
It's like I tell my wife, I say, look, I wear black every day because it matches my heart, my soul. Like I wear black. I wear Buckeye Scoop stuff every day, and it's usually this hoodie. I have literally a pile of these laying in my room and hanging. I have like 20 of these things. So, I wear them everywhere I go. I wear black every day. Again, that's just the mentality. Again,
I want to see the Kool-Aid man come to the game on Saturday.
Well, for one, I don't have a parking pass, so I'm not coming to the game. So you're gonna have to enjoy yourself. So somebody's gonna work on Saturday night, and they're gonna be Nevada butter popcorn. I know that.
Nevada butter popcorn is gonna be hiding. I'm gonna be hiding.
Yeah. So let's just get this real straight. So Nevada is actually gonna be he's likely not gonna be on the post game show. So.
Probably not, and probably won't be available on Sunday because I'm going to be driving. So it's like there's a couple days, so I will not be around. That's win, lose, or draw, or whatever it is. So there's no where's Nevada? He's hiding. We're just like no, this there. But I would like the Kool-Aid. But the Kool-Aid man could show up for just like maybe a half or something like that. You could just go bust in the door, like, hey, Kool-Aid, come running in all red.
If you go rent me a helicopter, I'll paradrop in. I'll do it. I don't care. I'd love to see these Tennessee hillbillies. I mean, it'll be great. I'm all about that.
We'll drop you like on a bungee cord, like Wild Wing at the Mighty Ducks games or something like that. Just like zip line, you were right in there.
Hey, Wild Wing's fresh. I like Wild Wing.
Wild Wing's a nut, man. He's a nut. Yeah.
He's like the gorilla from the Phoenix Suns. He like jumps out of the rafters and does like a tomahawk dunk, from the rafters. I'm like, that's my kind of mascot right there. Brutus got to up his game a little bit. All right. I started at the top of the super chats. I apologize, guys. I was a little bit further down. I was scrolling and I didn't realize that I started on like the fifth one instead of the first one. So I'll get this rolling for you guys. The Rice Buck Owls. That is a combination I've never seen before, right? The Rice Owls. So, Tom Herman coached at Rice. That's where Drew Maringer, who's the tight ends coach at Oregon, who was the GA with me at Ohio State. He was a Rice Owl, so go Rice. Love the show. Rice, offensive tackle, Onawa, literal bioengineering major at Rice, where professors pull 0 punches for athletes. Trust me, I know. Please push for Onawa. Would be the sharpest on the team. Nevada OH. He's a big time player too. I mean, I would love to take him. I don't know where we are on his list, but yeah, that is no joke of a school. That's a great school, and Drew Maringer actually met Tom Herman there. That's how Drew got into coaching. He played there. I think he might have been a walk-on, got hurt, became a student assistant really young. I mean, Drew was like a prodigy. He was a offensive coordinator in the Big Ten as like a 25-year-old at Rutgers with Chris Ash. And now he ran like the 135th best offense. So I mean, he literally was last place at Rutgers with Chris Ash. Got Chris Ash fired, but still counts. And then he went to Texas with Tom Herman, had a bad falling out. He's been at like 8 or 9 places. Now he's the tight ends coach at Oregon, so he's got a plum job now. But yeah, Rice is no joke. All right, Rohan Van Gogh, thanks for the deuce. Appreciate you, my friend. Tegra at right guard, or Tegra, whatever. Tegra. And Luke left guard. I don't understand Nevada OH. Well, that's coming from the little open period of practice where they put the media guys out there and they do, they get to watch 15 minutes of the stretch lines and individuals. So I don't, whatever. Like, I mean, I don't know if that means he's going to start over Austin Seyerveld. If Austin's going to rotate in at right guard, I don't know. Again, a lot of times we would mess with the media when they would be in for the beginning of practice. Like, we'd always kind of goof around and line up in different spots and stuff, and then they'd report it. So it was always kind of fun to do that because they're only there for the first 15, like the most worthless part of practice, which is like, it would be like if I said, hey, you guys could come to this, NFL game with me, but you have to leave after the warm-ups. So you'd be like, well, how do we know who wins? How do we know who does good? How do we know who to play in our fantasy league? I don't know. You get to watch the warm-ups and then we kick you out of the stadium. Like, that's kind of what it's like at practice when the media guys go and they're like, oh, we get to watch practice for 10 minutes. And then they get to go home and, post their videos of guys, running pat and go, literally like the easiest drills and the warm-ups for the O-line. And so again, if someone lines up in a different spot, maybe it's it, but they get it. And again, if Luke takes the spot, then God bless him. If he's playing better and anchoring better, or Donnie said he's anchoring better, which again, that was my biggest thing with Luke, is he has to get stronger. Has to. I mean, everybody can always get stronger when they're playing O-line, but Luke really has to get stronger, especially against some of their D tackles. It's not going to be pretty. So yeah. Tummy Tom, 10, thanks for the deuce. A lot of portal misses sounds like excuses. Nevada, I'll let you take this one first.
That's not like there's an excuse and a reason. Like, we're trying to offer up reasons, not excuses. I don't need to make excuses for Ohio State because I don't care. Like, it's not my job to defend Ryan Day or Justin Fry or Mark Pantoni. I mean, frankly, I don't even like any of those guys. So I am definitely not going to make excuses for them. I will, however, we try to pride ourselves on the show of being honest, being fair, and trying to educate you as to what's going on. So we're trying to give you reasons as to what's going on, as opposed to just the lazy take is Ohio State sucks, studs lazy. They don't know. They don't have any money in the portal. They got beat. They're not like, we could offer that pablum to you, but it's not true. So we're trying to get a little deeper, try to give you at least a little bit of inside baseball in terms of what's going on. And like I said, I'm just not in the excuse making business, but I will try to offer insight, whatever. And I know Kirk does the same thing.
Well, it's like I say, I'm like, look, it's too early to really make a judgment. I mean, we missed on some guys, and I mean, there aren't many guys where I'm just like, oh my God, I wish we could have gotten him, or stuff was preordained. And again, like, you don't know what's going on behind the scenes too. Like, that's always the thing I say. It's like some of these guys are like, oh, we didn't get Jaheim Otis, who goes from Alabama to Colorado, and we never had a chance to get that kid. Or, like, oh, we could use him for next year because we're losing Tyreek and Ty Hamilton. But that's just life. You know what I mean? Sometimes you're just, not every kid is cut out for Ohio State. Not every kid wants to come to Ohio State. Not every kid's whatever. It's like when Travis Hunter was committed to Florida State forever and ever and ever, then he flips to Jackson State. Like, I mean, can you really get mad at the coaches at Florida State because they lost the kid to Jackson State and Dion? Like, I don't know. Worked out pretty good for Travis. So, yeah, like in recruiting, there's always two sides. And the thing I always plead for is, like, let's wait like 3, 4, 5 years and let's see how that all pans out. Because, it's like with recruiting, like recruiting in high school has never been more worthless because there's always these class rankings at the end of every signing day where it's like, here's the number one class in the country, Alabama, Georgia, whatever. And then within 6 to 8 months, 7 or 8 of the top guys have left the class. Like you look at Alabama's recruiting class from the last couple of years, like Caleb Downs is playing for us. So is Julian saying they've lost a bunch of 5-star guys this cycle. So I don't know. Like again, like let's wait and see how it all pans out before we just blindly get upset. And again, like sometimes like we miss on a portal and it's like we lose an offensive lineman to like Cincinnati. I'm like, or an offensive lineman to Kentucky. I'm like, well, don't you think we could have had him if we really wanted him? Like the tackle from Bowling Green that went to Kentucky. Like, I mean, he didn't go to Georgia. He didn't go to Bama. He didn't go to a playoff team. I mean, he went to one of the worst teams in the SEC. So it's like, was he that good? I mean, obviously, if we really wanted him, we wanted to pay him and promise him the starting position. Like, it's tough. Because again, like, you have to understand, like, when you take one of these portal tackles, like, you have to promise he's going to start. And if he's not that good, again, like Carter Smith is from Olentangy, and again, like he's a kid that's at Indiana, and he's had a great, 2-year run as a starter. But he hit the portal this time last year, and Ohio State said thanks, but no, you're not good enough for us to lock you in as a starter. So he went back to Indiana and he started there. So again, and that's fine, that's great. Again, so we'll see how that pans out. If Carter ends up being a first-round pick, then it's a mistake. If he's not, then he's not. So, but you only have like. It's like Nevada said, like, when you're walking through the buffet and you're like, man, I want crab legs. And you say, okay, you can fill your plate up with the first 4 items that you want. And you're like, ooh, there's crab legs and prime ribs. You like fill your plate up. And then like, you're like, all right, your plate's all full. So you're done. And then like, if you would have kept walking down to the end, there's like bricks of gold and Rolex watches and keys to Mercedes-Benz, trucks and stuff. You're just like, oh, I wish I would have kept walking instead of taking a baked potato. I could have put gold on whatever. Like, I'm just trying to say, it's like, don't get too upset when it's this early in the game, especially when, again, if the staff was whining and dining and courting and whatever, it's like, look, guys, like, let's just keep this roster happy. Again, like I as hard as I've been on Jaden Felding, I'm fine with the fact that we didn't go after a kicker right now and shake him up going into this Tennessee game where he's shook because he knows he's cooked and he has to hit the portal after the game. Like, I'm good with that. I'm glad that we didn't take a tackle. Then, because again, like if you're George Fitzpatrick or the backup tackle or some of these guys that are competing for, a job, like, and all of a sudden we signed the kid from Bowling Green or whatever. Like, is his mind on the Tennessee game or is his mind on his next stop? Some of these backup guys. So, Ian Moore, some of these guys, it's like, you want to make sure that their head is on this game. That's it. You don't want to be signing a bunch of free agents and these guys are, well, God, I got to go hit the portal now. I can't believe that. That sucks. Because a lot of these guys are one play away from playing and having significant roles in the playoffs. Ranjit Soy, thanks for the 10. Hope you're good, brother. Appreciate you, my friend. This is great. 2 impatient fans. Incoming transfers: Caleb Downs, Will Howard, Quinshon Judkins, Seth McLaughlin, Julian Sane, all announced in January. Josh Simmons announced in April. Patience Grasshopper. Nevada, your thoughts?
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself. Look, there's going to be a lot of more options that are available. And, we're not saying you don't have the right to get mad or angry or startled or frustrated or whatever it is, but just wait till after when the portal season's over and then make a judgment. That's all we're asking for. And I just think you'll be happier. People will be around to be happier. And if you're on our message board, please take that attitude, because just being negative all the time just bums everybody out, and no point in it.
Yeah, it is kind of funny. Ian Bates, thank you for the 5. These are social media kids. Yes, they are. They love to post that they're on a visit or they're wearing the uniform, whatever. They go with what's in vogue. We can change the conversation by winning it all. Oregon and the rest will be no more once we win it. Again, everybody wants to play for a winner. And again, I just don't think that we're in the shopping mood right now. I think we're in the, hey, let's go win and beat Tennessee mood. Like, I think that the team, they don't have a lot of energy to go cater to some kid from, Western Kentucky to come on campus and whatever. And again, that's part of, maybe I think that's a little bit of a negative to having a first round game, is like, you don't have that first open weekend where you can host kids. But I also don't think it matters. I think at the end of the day, let's go win this game for these kids. And when the portal opens up in January, then we'll shop after we win it all. Nevada, your thoughts?
Yeah, look, Who's a hotter brand than Ohio State right now? Maybe Oregon. Nobody. Look, Alabama's in trouble. Alabama missed the playoff. Alabama's. If you're an Alabama fan, you're sitting there with Nick Saban and 7 titles, and you go out there and Saban leaves, and you go grab Kalen DeBoer, the hottest name in coaching at the time, and they're circling the drain right now, and that's a problem. So for Ohio State, look, we're still in the rare air. We're a couple of wins away from being in the rarest of the rare airs, and but it all starts Saturday. Win Saturday, and 99% of these issues go away with the fans, with everybody's feeling better about themselves. Let's win on Saturday, and I really truly believe that we're going to win on Saturday night, and I'm going to be there. And Kirk, the Kool-Aid Man's going to be there with me, and we're going to be toasting with hot cocoa.
Kirk's going to be at home working, clicking away. I'm going to be there enjoying it. Kirk's going to be getting ready for the post-game show.
Can you at least wear can you wear the scarlet outfit at home? Then at least can you dress in the all scarlet as a tribute to the scarlet out? Wear the red jumpsuit at home.
I don't think I have my red jumpsuit anymore. I think I threw them all away.
Really?
Seriously,
you don't have?
I swear.
You would know, like the big red thing hanging. I think it looks like a boat sail that's hanging in your closet or something
sail.
Like that.
That's pretty classic. A boat sail. I love that.
Oh. Kirk goes in the closet. It's like all these 700 black suits, and there's like this big red thing sitting on the right. Like, I don't know if I have the red thing anymore. Just go there and look, Kirk. Everything's black. If you see something that's not black, that's what it is. It's the red tracksuit.
We used to have the worst gear, man. I'm telling you, that was the funniest thing about like when Urban showed up, our stuff immediately got like way cooler and way nicer. And I begged for a black sweat. I was like, can we please get a black sweatsuit instead of having these bright red sweatsuits every year that look stupid? And like, it was funny because your boy Andy Geiger said that we can't wear black because we look like thugs, which I'm like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. And I love Andy Geiger, but I'm like, what does wearing black have to do with us looking like thugs? Like, instead we have to look like cherries, so we look like Pop-Tarts walking around. It's ridiculous. But now they get like these incredible, awesome, like all black jumpsuits with the red swoosh. And I'm like, oh, thank you, Urban. Urban changed it all, baby. Ian Bates, thanks for the deuce. Tegra with the ones today. He has to have the nuclear codes or the nuclear bomb. I don't know what the football is. Maybe the drones are over at Tigra's house right now looking for him. So I don't know. Tommy Tom, thanks for the deuce. Oh, here you go, Nevada. A lot of this sounds like sunshine pumping. My favorite phrase, to be real. Nevada, can you please provide us with some Prozac off the fact that we're, the number 4 favorite team to win the tournament, and we've got probably the best roster in the tournament. Could you please pump me some sunshine so that we have a reason for hope and dreams?
Yeah. I know it. These are dark days. But I mean, come on, man. It's like, look.
Oh,
I mean,
God.
Look, everything's not perfect. We've got issues. We talk about issues all day long on this show. So this has been anything but puppies and rainbows about everything. We have gone into great length dissecting issues over and over and over again. But in the interest of being fair and balanced, everything's not a disaster, and there's a lot of good things. And we talk about that too. And I guess you can latch on to whatever you want to, but I think if anything, we are completely fair and play it right down the middle because we don't care. We have no agenda here. We're not here to carry anybody's water. We're not here to support anybody's narrative. We're not here because, we're shills for Ohio State or whatever it is. No, we're here to give you the truth and we'll tell you how it is. And I think we're going to win on Saturday, and I think it's going to be a good day. And you're free to feel different, and Kirk could feel differently. I haven't even asked him what he thinks about the game. We haven't even talked about that yet. But if he does, that's what's great about life. And that's what's great about gambling. Everybody has a different opinion. I think we're going to win on Saturday. I think it's going to be a great day, and I'm excited about it.
Yeah, again, I've lived through bad. I wish that I had the power to grant someone Groundhog Day, except I would want it to be for an entire football season. And I would want it to be the 2011 season where we went we lost 7 games in one season. That was bad. That was we weren't sitting there saying, oh man, this is great. This is fun. This is amazing. I was on staff that year and I was like, oh my God, this season it was a lame animal. And of course, because Gene Smith is an idiot, we did not take a bowl ban that year. They not only did we lose 6 games in the regular season, they made us go lose a 7th one as like a cherry on top versus the Florida Gators in the Tax Slayer Bowl. We had to go play in the worst bowl game in Ohio State history. So I mean, I wish that when people say that we're Sunshine Bumpers, I wish that there was a way I could physically teleport them to a realm that would just replay that season. And I say, okay, you think this is bad? Let's go back to the 7-loss season of 2011 because that was bad. No, I like our chances. I think we've got a really good shot against this team. You just got to protect the ball. You can't make mistakes. I mean, you got to play a really good, clean game. Again, this is the same team. We almost beat Oregon. I mean, they were scared to death. We're going to kick a field goal, ace it, win an Outson, and roll back home and be the number 1 team in the city. I mean, again, you have to remember, and again, I know that sports books can get it wrong, but they're the smartest human beings in the world are the people that set these lines. If we win this game, when we win this game, we are a 1-point underdog to the Oregon Ducks, who everybody has already basically handed the national championship trophy to. So again, we'll have the best odds against Oregon versus anybody else in the tournament. So, again, guys, like we're not just like conjecturing here that the program's in pretty good shape, but the guys got to show up and go. But we've got a veteran team, and again, if they want the deodorant stick that'll wipe away the stink that's been the season between not winning the Big Ten, not beating Michigan, whatever, like winning the Natty is the ultimate. So I'm excited for these guys. Cougar 12, thank you for the 10. The national narrative about the game is our O-line versus their D-line. Makes sense after our last game, but no one brings up how much better our D is than anyone they've faced. I think they struggle to score. I mean, I think we got to make it one-dimensional. I think we got to shut the run down and make the giant kid, the big quarterback, beat us and see how he likes the cold. Nevada, your thoughts on this? Again, our defense is much better than anybody that they've played against. It's not even a question. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I think that is the story of the game. And I think our defense, for whatever reason, has kind of flown under the radar, certainly with the fan base. I mean, it's a historically good defensive unit. It's a unit that's averaging under 11 points a game. So the last 4 defenses that have done, there's only been like 4 defenses that have done it in the last 30 years, and all 4 of those teams won the national championship. And that's how good the defense has been. But I'm not sure if it's because Ohio State fans expect us to stop to never allow a score or never allow a first down or what. It's some weird thing where you just don't hear a lot talking about our defense, and our defense is really, really good. And I think Pooh Beard's right on. I think that's the story of the game on Saturday night. Is their strength is running the football. Our strength is stopping the run, and I like that matchup. I'd be much more concerned about a team that could go out there and spread us out, light us up through the air. And I think Nico, I think he'll throw some interceptions, and I think he'll put the ball up, put the ball in the harm's way, get them behind the chains early, and I love it. I love the matchup, and I really believe that's going to be the story of why we win the game.
Yeah, I agree. Tommy Tom, again, thanks for the deuce. John Cooper is defined by his worst moments. I think that at Ohio State, you're defined by your biggest moments, not your worst, your biggest. Again, I think Jim Tressel is more defined by beating the Miami Hurricanes than he is by losing to Florida or losing to LSU. I think Urban Meyer is more defined by beating Oregon than he is to losing to Purdue. But with Coop, I mean, we won the Rose Bowl, obviously, versus Arizona State, but, we had some ungodly talented teams that lost to Michigan State and Michigan a couple of times, with Eddie and the 98 team. So those were probably bigger than the Rose Bowl, which I hate to say that, but and the same goes. I always say this about players, what's Ryan Hamby done for? Ryan Hamby dropped the ball versus Texas. We could have beat the best team in the country that night if he catches it. Again, I'm not blaming on Ryan, but if you walk around to the average Ohio State fan and say the name Ryan Hamby, what do they talk about? They talk about that he played in the national title game and was Ben Hartsock's backup, or do they talk about that he dropped the ball versus Texas? Jake Ballard, what's he done for? The catch in the Rose Bowl, jumping over the guy. Terrell Pirate throws it up in the air, and Jake 6'7" goes up and snags it. And so again, there's you're known for your biggest moment, man. That's just kind of what it is. I mean, again, that's just part of playing at Ohio State, and it doesn't. It's not always a good moment. Like again, Hamby's known for dropping that ball. It's like that's kind of what it is. I mean, like Nevada likes to remind me with Nate Sally not getting over versus Lima Swede in the same game, and Lima scores and we lose and whatever. So again, and that's not me being negative, but that's just people kind of remember the biggest moments. So again, with Coop, like a lot of people, it's that '98 Michigan State game because it was just such a debacle. Now the good thing for Urban is like he had that awful 2015 Michigan State game, but I don't think that that's outweighed by beating Oregon and beating Alabama in the first college football playoff. So I think it's a good point. Defined by worst moments. I think it's defined by your biggest moments. Nevada, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, as bad as Cooper was against Michigan, I mean, his win against Arizona State in the Rose Bowl is right up there. I mean, that's one of my all-time great sports moments. I've told the story how I was literally seated next to Big Daddy Dan Wilkinson, and he picked me up and shook me like a rag doll when David Boston caught that touchdown pass to win the game. Um, but I mean, that will forever be in my. If I had to name my top 10 Ohio State sports moments, that's right up there. So yeah, I agree. It's your biggest moments, and it's funny how Hamby gets all that negativity, obviously, but you guys kicked 5 field goals that day, and then Josh Houston misses a field goal there at the end of the game that would have put the game would have put you guys up 9 or whatever it was, and the game's over at that point. But because Hamby makes that one drop, life's cruel sometimes. The fan base can be crueler, but yeah, big moment. Look, everybody's life is defined by big moments, and everybody's life comes down to a few moments. You have a few moments in your life that kind of define whether it's meeting your spouse or getting that job or making that decision or some fateful meeting or something like that kind of really sets a trajectory for your whole life. So I think sports is just an allegory for life, and that's true in life for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I mean, you look at like someone, we're not going down the rabbit hole, but like OJ Simpson, who's a NFL Hall of Famer, but then he kills his wife, and so
Allegedly.
allegedly, like, what are you most known for? Well, it's probably that. So, no, I totally get it. But yeah, at Ohio State, it's just our fans have very long memories. So it's like again, if we walked around the tailgate, in my Kool-Aid suit on Saturday, and we said, "Hey, what do you remember about the '05 Texas game? Do you remember Josh Houston missing 5 field goals? You remember Hamby dropping the ball?" It's like I know because I've been asked about it. Like that's the thing is like I get asked about it. Hey, you played in that game. Why did Hamby drop the ball? I don't know. No idea. Again, I I feel bad for him, but that's part of what you sign up for. Like if you played Akron, no one's gonna remember if you dropped that ball. If you played Ohio State, everybody remembers. So again, it is what it is. Bobby Beck, thanks for the news. Kirk in Nevada, what's your favorite bourbon? Ooh, Nevada, do you have a favorite bourbon? Do you even drink bourbon? I know you drink popcorn butter at the movies like you did today when you saw Gladiator 2, which must have been fun. But is there any bourbon that you like?
I am not a bourbon. I've drank some Macallan, I've drank some Blanton's, but I'm not a big bourbon drink. I need to find a good bourbon drink. Somebody needs to find like a good bourbon drink, so, like some sort of mixed drink, like bourbon and pineapple juice or something like that, or bourbon and something like that. Is there anything like that? That's like a prominent bourbon drink that's a little sweeter.
But you could like put bourbon in your like strawberry Oreo milkshake. Could that
Ooh,
work?
see,
That might
see,
that
I'm
that,
telling you,
that,
like
that might
that
make your
that
head
act
explode.
that
That'd be a lot of sugar, man. A lot of sugar in that alcohol, man. Your
yeah.
head would explode.
Yeah,
I
but I went. Yeah, I did. I went to see Gladiator 2 today. I got the popcorn. I got the peanut M&Ms, and I got a Coke. And I got to tell you, like about halfway through, I enjoyed the movie, but I was just getting a little nauseous from all that popcorn and artificial butter and peanut M&Ms and
uh,
Coke, and didn't feel so good. So I think I'm gonna have to eat. I need to like even it out with some like chicken soup and Ritz crackers tonight
go,
or something like that.
go. Just go all in and eat some Freddies. Get like your double double and like
I
a
am, dude.
fry, a
I
milkshake.
would
You
throw up,
die.
throw up all.
You're like,
Oh
oh
God,
god.
I feel so disgusting right now. It's like, oh man,
Uh,
I'm gonna go put my red tracksuit on and go sit outside and just watch the
let's go.
dogs run around or something like that.
Let's go play in traffic. It's like, please put me out of my misery. Oh
Get
my gosh.
someone shoot me.
Oh, shot. For my favorite bourbon, I don't. It's funny because I've got a bunch of it. Paul Lewis gave me a bottle of God. What it is? It's like so ungodly expensive. I'm scared to even drink it. God, what's it called? It's in the red bottle.
The
Pappy.
Double Eagle.
No, Pappy Van Winkle.
Pappy Van Winkle. Pappy Van Winkle. There,
yeah. Paul Lewis showed up at our first get together, and he looked like an assassin. He had sunglasses on and like a fedora, and he's like, "Do you know who I am?" And I was like, "God, I hope you're not here to kill me." And he's like, "It's Paul Lewis," and you have to remember, like when we do the show, like a lot of times your little photos on here, your little AVIs, like on my screen, they're like they're microscopic, so they look like the size of a dime. So my eyes aren't exactly great. So when I'm looking at it, it's like I kind of can make out a little bit of an outline. But so if I don't recognize you from your AVI that's this big on my screen, I apologize. Your little photo, but he's a riot, man. What a great dude. I love Paul to death. He came over. He actually came to Twin Peaks, drove over, brought his own wine, and we had to negotiate with the manager. It's like, hey, I know that you guys, this isn't like a high-end restaurant where you can like do like a corking fee where you bring your own wine in and pay them to serve it to you, which again, I've never done that before. I just drink the wine that they have. But if you have super high-end, crazy expensive wine like Paul did, then that's what we negotiated. So I was like paying by the glass for glasses of wine that he provided. So it was an interesting day at the Peaks that day, but it was a fun day. Again, Paul's a wild man, and he does not give. He is a bad man. He's a great guy. But yeah, that fedora was awesome. When he walked in, he's like, "Do you know who I am?" I was like, "I just hope you're not here to kill me," because I thought he was going to pull his pistol out and blast me in the middle of B-dubs. Shout out Rollins, thanks for the 20, and thanks for an ultra member and a wrench. Hope you're doing great, my friend, King of Worcester. To all service members, thank you. BuckeyeScoop@gmail.com is the email to sign up. If you have any questions, tag a wrench. Yeah, always our handy dandy moderators are awesome. So super, super easy to do. And again, it's also in the, if you miss it, if you go to the description of this episode, our email is listed in there. So, and if it's not, I'll make sure and double check that it is. But super easy, BuckeyeScoop@gmail.com. Send us a note. We sent up a ton of Pay It Forwards. Again, all of our super chats go into Pay It Forward to help provide memberships for our armed service members, our police officers, first responders. Again, incredible program. And it's that time of the year where people have been exceptionally generous, and just we appreciate you guys so very much. All right, Nevada, anything to add to that?
No, just incredibly generous. And as you said, I literally sign up Pay It Forward members every single day, every single day without exception. Yeah. So it's a great program, and it's just so much fun meeting our great service members and first responders.
Yeah. All right, Nevada, good show tonight. Any final thoughts? We can ring this thing up.
No, I'm excited. You could mark it down. Nevadabuck is predicting an Ohio State victory on Saturday. I really like the way that things are rounded up. I think a lot of the questions that we have, a lot of the concerns that we have, a lot of the issues that we had with the Michigan game are being ironed out. I know you'll see a much more aggressive brand of offensive football on Saturday, and I can't wait for it.
So after your diet of movie theater junk food, you can go from being a sunshine pumper to having your stomach pumped.
Oh man, you know. Oh, Kirk, dun dun. I like that, man. Your intern is like slipping you notes on it. Do a stomach pump joke.
I can't wait till I expense like a full drum set for the podcast video, and you call and yell at me about it. Kirk, we can't afford a full Tommy Lee Motley Crue drum set for your set.
Yeah, you'll buy the Ringo Starr. These were played in the cave with the Beatles in '64. And I'm like,
that's right.
You don't need that. Yeah. You need to get like the tambourine from like the little girl in the Partridge Family or something like that.
Yeah, we're getting the full set. And I need like a whole set of like freshly. I have the sticks and stuff ready to go. It's gonna be absolutely fantastic. We got another super chat at the buzzer. SC Buckeye, thanks for the dudes. Thanks for being ultra as well. Nevada, Kentucky Colonel is a sweet bourbon drink.
Okay, there
Kentucky
we go.
Colonel.
Do we know
See,
what that's in there? Like, if somebody else could let me know
like,
what. But I'll Google that though. Kentucky Colonel. I'll do that.
it sounds like you like pour a glass of bourbon, you put like a drumstick in there or something. You put like a chicken drumstick and stir it out.
Oh, Kirk, you are on fire. Kirk is on fire tonight.
See,
man.
I would have to hit like both the drums like a couple times to like do. And say, I call it the expense report jig. That's what we'll call it.
Dude, I went to Kentucky Fried Chicken literally just yesterday for lunch. I did. I went by myself. Got the big box. Got the 3-piece original big box. Got the coleslaw side, mashed potato side, and then got the extra side of the sweet corn. Man, that's
was it?
I like.
Was it fire?
That makes me happy. That really does make me happy.
Dude, when I was a young child in Naples, Florida, man. We'd go there, man. I get like a whole Colonel Rotisserie Gold chicken, man, and that thing was the most delicious thing I've ever eaten.
It's so good.
There wasn't anything left of that thing. I looked like one of those. I looked like a piranha at the time. It looked like you dip it, it's nothing but bones.
No, you must look like Augustus Gloop there with like the stuff all over your face and stuff like that.
Chicken's lean, man. That's just rotisserie. Like, it wasn't even fried. And like, I didn't eat any of the sides. I just wanted that. I was like, all I want is a whole chicken.
Give me that chicken. Give me that chicken, Mama. I want that chicken.
I know. I was like the Hound. I was like the Hound in Game of Thrones, where he says, "I'm gonna eat every chicken in here." That's the greatest. That's the greatest scene of all time. Is when the Hound says, "I'll take some of that chicken. You gonna pay for it? Did you pay for it? No, but we're the King's men." I can't get into it more because it's vulgar. But if you guys want to watch the funniest, the Hound chicken, just put that in YouTube. But make sure that the kids are in bed and make sure you've got explicit content. But it is hilarious. All right, Nevada, for real this time. Any final thoughts? Boogie.
Buckeyes are going to win Saturday night. Mark it down. Nevadabuck has said it. It will be so.
Nevada Sunshine. That's his new name. All right, let's get out of here. Appreciate you guys. As always, another great show, another fun show. Appreciate all you guys that are super chatting. The Pay It Forward, we get a ton of new members every night. So thank you guys for that. Again, it's super easy. If you guys have any questions on it, send us an email and we'll get you guys fixed up to join our message board. It is absolutely awesome. So if you guys enjoy our content, please leave us a like, click subscribe. Also click that little alert bell. Again, we appreciate you guys each and every night. What a great night and what a great show. So we appreciate all of the energy. The chat is always lit. So thank you guys for that as always. So again, we are growing like crazy. We're very grateful for you guys. Again, this is a huge show because you guys make it one. We never forget that. This is a Scoop family driven show. So again, we try to give you guys what you want and make sure that it's always entertaining and fun. And again, we appreciate all of you guys forever. Again, we just love doing this show. So if you want to do something huge for us, again, I say this every night. I mean it sincerely. If you have an iPhone, pull it out, type in podcast, click on the podcast app, type in Buckeye Scoop, click subscribe. Completely free. The biggest thing in the world you can do to help us right now. And if you want to do that on Spotify as well, for you Android users, if you're on an iPhone, you can do both. It's completely free. The biggest thing, the best Christmas gift you could ever give us, because we're really trying to grow that. And again, we've been lagging behind. So we're trying to grow it a little bit. So again, I appreciate you guys so much. Again, do it with your friends, your kids, your spouses. It's just a super easy way to help us. And it's something that we can see some growth there, which is great. Because again, we've been dredging at the bottom of that for a while. So we're trying to get a little bit more on there. So but again, I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you guys for all you guys do. Thank you so much, Buckeye Nation. And thank you, Scoop family. Getting close. Gonna have a home playoff game to shoot this Saturday. It's gonna be fantastic. So we're getting close. So we'll see you guys at 7:10 tomorrow. Hope you guys have a great rest of your night. Go Bucks.